I've been waiting for this book to come out for so long, right? This has been about a year in the making. And it's literally, and I've said this before, it's a book that I wish I would have had when I was going through this because it's literally step by step. It's
Mm,
do these things, don't do these things,
yep.
And that's what we're going to talk about in our next little kind of behind the scenes with this next chapter is some of
Yeah.
the what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, exactly. So let's dive right in. So the book
Yeah,
is broken up. First of all, the title of the book, Beth, is
is On the Other Side of Pain, Healing After Betrayal.
yeah. And what I love is you've got the book broken up into five parts.
Mhm.
And we've already gone through some of those previous parts. Part one was understanding betrayal trauma and laying that
Mhm.
foundation. Part two was put the right processes in place for true healing. And
Yep.
now we're in the third part of five in the book. And this is chapters 11, 12, and 13. And I can't wait to dive in here and hear your thoughts because part three is all about the other side of pain, individual healing for the betrayed partner.
Yes.
And specifically, we're going to dive in here in chapter 11, which is entitled Shock and Survival Navigating the Initial Crisis After Discovery. So I'm going to let you take it away from here.
Yeah, this section is really crucial because it's specifically for the betrayed partners. The next section is specifically for the unfaithful partners. And that's another reason why I really felt a need to write this book because I wanted it to be from both perspectives,
Right. Yep.
right? Betrayed partners and the unfaithful partners. Because, Doug, as you know, so many couples want to reconcile. They want to work through this and figure it out. I mean, most of them have gone to 3, 4 marriage counselors
Right.
already before they find us. So we know that there's a need out there where couples want to reconcile,
Mm-hmm.
but they just don't know what to do.
You don't.
There's
Yeah.
there's nothing out there. So chapter 11 is specifically for the betrayed partners, and it's that shock of what do you do, right? This your world has now completely exploded. Your past has changed. You don't know what's up, what's down. You're not sleeping, you're not eating. So in this chapter, I kind of walk them through what they need to do to start to stabilize. And
Mm.
that to me, that's a huge it's a huge validating chapter because it lets them know they're not crazy. All those symptoms that they're experiencing, they're all very real.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage people, chapter 11, self care. How do you start living again? How do you get yourself off the floor after your world has completely exploded?
Yeah. Yeah, and when I hear shock mode versus survival mode, I mean, it feels like those two things might be a little bit different. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
curious if you can share like what are the differences between like that shock mode and that survival mode, and how would people know if they're in shock mode versus survival mode?
Yeah, there's very specific stages that betrayed partners go through, and these were actually coined by Dr. Debbie Silber. And these stages, right? The first stage is actually where people don't even know what's happened yet. And
Okay.
that may not make sense, but again, in the book, I go a little bit deeper in it. But stage two is the shock. It's when you find out. And that is so traumatizing to the nervous system and to the brain. And so much of what we do is based on neuroscience, the
Hmm.
connection between the mind and the nervous system, the brain and the nervous system. So shock is that initial a Mack truck just hit you.
Yeah. Ooh.
Betrayed partners know exactly what I'm talking about. They know that feeling. So I don't need to go much further for them on that. They know exactly what I'm talking about. Survival, this next stage, which is stage three, this is when the shock is not there anymore, but the pain is
Mm.
24/7. So the nervous system is still sending all of these messages that there's danger, you're not safe, don't trust, don't believe what you see, don't believe what you hear. There's so much confusion going on within the body. What I want betrayed partners to know once again is that that's all normal. It's all a part of betrayal trauma. So, chapter 11, again, it's a very validating chapter for them, and it explains what the difference is between that shock and then that survival mode. And that survival mode, Doug, is where betrayed partners get stuck. They get stuck in this stage 3 survival mode because it feels better than stage 2. It feels better than shock.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they kind of get stuck here. And the reason they get stuck is nobody's telling them that there's a stage 4. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
saying, hey, you don't have to stay. You don't have to live this pretend normal life.
Right.
Nobody's saying there's another way to live. And even if they are saying it, they're not giving betrayed partners the path to do it. And
Yeah.
that's why chapter 11 is so important.
Yeah. And Beth, as I'm listening to you too, I know sometimes people have this sort of false belief that, well, if we just let enough time go by, we'll start to feel better. But can you speak to that time factor and if
Yeah.
that is a factor or if it's not when it comes to trauma?
Yeah. This is a classic line that I say all the time. The nervous system doesn't have a clock. Period. So our nervous system does not keep track of time. Our nervous system keeps track of safety. That's it. So, when a betrayed partner is being told, it's been 6 months or a year or 6 years or whatever, and you need to just move on already. I was
Hmm.
told that by marriage counselors when my husband and I were going through that. Beth, you're just going to have to move on, right? The nervous system does not have a clock. So if back in those days when my husband was still not safe for me, my nervous system was telling me that all day long. It was that
Hmm.
gut instinct, like there's something wrong, something feels off, right? So the nervous system doesn't keep track of time. So when unfaithful partners say it's been 6 months, when are you going to get over this? They're showing their hand that they know nothing about trauma. They know nothing about how the nervous system and the brain work when there's a traumatizing event.
Hmm.
So, yeah, again, deep dive in the book into that topic.
Yeah, I really like that. Beth, I've had conversations with unfaithful partners and they'll be describing the behavior exhibited by the betrayed partner and they'll be like, it's like she or he is crazy. They go into these fits of rage or
Mm-hmm.
they get stuck in detective mode. They ask a million questions and then you know what I say to them? Yep, that's
Yep.
extremely consistent with betrayal trauma. What you just described is betrayal trauma. And it kind of is like, oh, it is. They're kind of
Yeah.
sensationalizing this, like the betrayed partner's crazy. And guess what?
Mm-hmm.
They're not crazy, are they?
They're not crazy. And in out in the world, right? Movies, songs, TV shows, betrayal is depicted as kind of this not such a big deal. And
Hmm.
so people have this really false perception of what it is like to be a betrayed partner. There was one TV show a bazillion years ago. I never remember the name of it. And every time I use this example, I always hang up and go, I need to look up the name of this movie that I watched. But anyway, it was a wife who found out her husband was having an affair. And she cried for about 5 minutes and then decided she was going to be a comedian. And she was on stage and started this whole career as a comedian. That is so not. I mean, even for Hollywood standards, that is so beyond realistic for what actually happens to a human being when they find out that they have been betrayed by their spouse or partner. So, no, you don't just cry for a few minutes and then go build a new life somewhere. No, these people, betrayed partners, they're not sleeping, they're not eating. They've got brain fog. They have all the classic PTSD symptoms because that's what this is. It's a traumatic event. So,
Listening right now, please look for the link below. And if you have any more questions, you want to know more about Beth or our Healing Families team or Healing After Betrayal Trauma, please go to healingwithbeth.com. We've got lots of complimentary resources. And one of the things on there is a link where you can actually book a complimentary call with me. It's just a support call. So if you're sitting there saying, I know I need to do something, I have no idea what it is, I'm just feeling stuck and I'm not sure what my next move is, that's exactly what that support call is for. So please just grab a time that works for you and we'll help figure that out together. Okay.
Mhm.
Beth, thank you so much for your time today and all of
You're
the
so
insights that
welcome.
you're sharing. That's just awesome. And if you're listening, we look forward to connecting with you soon.